is we know how tough expenditures are. And I looked at mailing, the city mailing probably for each resident is close to 10,000. Well, this week, or this past week, we got our water bill. The water bill wasn't a postcard anymore. It's in an envelope, first class envelope. You know how much more that costs? $1,500 per cycle. That's $1,500 a month, more than the fee we paid for the cards. And on top of that, on July 9th, the U.S. Postal Service is raising their rates again by 3%. So it's a dog chasing its tail, and I don't know. I don't understand it. We always got the water bill and the sewage rates with a postcard, and you took part of it off, you kept part, and you returned the other part. And now we're getting a stamp or an envelope, and which is basically making the fees higher for the city board. One thing, and I expressed some of my concerns to a couple of council members here about the refuge problem that we're going to have, and the huge bills that the people in Port Huron are going to find on their July and December tax bill. I think every one of you, if you get a chance to go out and take a look at the recycling place out on Dove Road, it's just east of Glacier Point. And if you want to see a fiasco, it's almost running as bad as the city is sometimes. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Mr. Fuchs, Gillette. I've spoken one other time in front of the city council, and I tried to be really upbeat. I tried to be really excited about stuff. And this time, I can't. I want to be. I want to be excited about the fact that you guys allowed Pride Month to really explode here. I loved it. It was great. I want to be excited about that. But you turn around and you threaten Polly's place. I want to be excited that you guys are doing things to try and turn around downtown, but I can't. Because after you get past 10th Street, it's a mess. And nothing's going on about it. I want to be excited about what you're doing in the city. But your vision of where the city ends is a big problem. I want to be excited. But you continue to ask for 0.5% income tax from the people who don't live here but work here, and 1% for the people who live here. And that's just begging people to leave. You have shown that I can't be excited. You have shown that there's no reason for me to ever vote yes on any millage ever again, because you will circumvent what the people want. You prove that with this garbage thing. I know it's a, but I have watched that drama go on. It saddens me that you will circumvent and not even allow the people to vote on that, because you know the outcome. It saddens me that you're going to sell this building and not collect for 12 years a single dollar in property taxes from it. And I had to vote yes on that. Why? Because I knew you'd circumvent it. I want to be excited about this city, and I can't. And you make me think about moving out of it, and I'm sad. Please start making better decisions.
Thank you.
Julian Ruck, 1423 Lapeer Avenue, Polly's place. People are mad. And ask yourself, do we have a right to be? 1 in 4 people in poverty, over half struggling paycheck to paycheck, because there's no opportunity here. None. And when you say things this mayor has said on repeat, ad nauseum, well, you can lead a horse to water. They can hold themselves up by their bootstraps. People don't want to work anymore. The same mantra that allows some of you to just stop thinking after that. James Freed comes up here and says there's a worker shortage. What are we gonna do? Are people vaporizing and disappearing? Or are they just finding better jobs? There's a teenager I've taught how to garden the past few years. I call him Cash Money, because he's always thinking about, you know, what's the value here and how long does it take to grow that? He's a hustler. And in the past few years, I have indicators that he'd be hustling other things if I hadn't taught him how to hustle legal things. And he's right now making $400 or $500 a month selling apps on his phone as a 15, 16-year-old. Why would he go wash dishes somewhere? Why would he go work for $12 an hour? You treat the people of this community like garbage, with rare exception. I want everyone in this room to know those rare exceptions are Councilmember Haremza, Councilmember Ashford, and Councilmember Lamb. And that's it. You didn't know Port Huron is one of the most impoverished cities in the country? I had to tell that to both of you. You just didn't know. And you're on the Child Abuse and Neglect Council. Where do you think child abuse comes from? Poverty. And how do you deal with poverty? You lift people up, you give them options and opportunity. And as people in this community are pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, like somebody who bought an ignored vacant lot for $6,000 and started feeding the whole community, you go, no, not like that. We didn't mean pick yourself up by your bootstraps like that. Do you guys know that dehydrated kale powder sells for $1 an ounce? And you can dehydrate it at home and sell it cottage law, and you can make up to $25,000 a year from home dehydrating kale powder. Did you know that I can't stop growing kale? It's all over the place in the garden. That this entire city could be a global producer of kale powder, which has supposed to increase $100 million globally per year in the next handful of years. That's just one little sliver of opportunity you're keeping from people by putting your boot on my neck. And for what? Because I dared to say James Freed is total garbage at his job. Which at this point, I think we all know. So shoot the messenger? I'm currently growing and giving away more produce than any other individual in town. And you are giving variances to the South Side garden that's much less effective, that I've been asking for since September of 2020, David, when I approached the Planning Commission. And I don't get them, though we're far exceeding them in production value. We got to get this figured out. Yes? We're going to figure it out?
Why are you looking at just me? Your time is up.
Because we all know it's
Your
up
time
to
is
you,
up,
Colleen.
Julian. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address City Council this evening?
You know what, I'm gonna be outside with this free garlic. If anybody wants to come outside and get it, I'm done listening to their bullshit.
Ta-da. Hi, Angela Kelly, 1410 11th Street. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Nice to see Mr. Hayes here also tonight. So I just had a few things. I do see that you're going to be voting on for the striping services. I think I've been up here about 1.5 years asking for our school zones to get striped. There's also no signage, this lower speed limit signs. So I don't know if that's included or if this is just roads, but I'm hoping that this passes with flying colors here. And then also, we're back to the TIF zones, and I see that we have coming up for the Neighborhood Improvement Authority. I know we're doing some great things on the south side, but once again, these TIF zones, and a lot of people aren't aware of them, they take the money and they only put it right back in that same neighborhood. However, like our garbage prices going up and things like that, it doesn't go to basic services to the general fund, and it's not fair for us that aren't in that zone. These zones can last 25, 50 years. How long are we going to put a expiration zone or a date on that for these zones? So some of them have gone on years and years, and some of them also got the boundaries pushed out. So to include some things that won't ever bring this county or city money. So I just wanted to say thank you again, and hopefully we can get these school zones resolved. And I really appreciate the fire department. Glad to see everything coming up there. And that's one thing in my neighborhood I am proud of. And hopefully it's going to help us a lot with the issues that we have. We've got a lot of police in the neighborhood lately. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the City Council this evening? Please come forward.
Kevin Linke, Mom's Basement. I'm here tonight. Back in January, I was here to address the council about Mr. Freed's name being in a police report. A local media outlet reported on that meeting. They published an article on that meeting. They then received a letter from Mr. Shouty, a cease and desist and a demand for retraction that they defamed Mr. Freed. I don't know if the council's aware of that our city manager is weaponizing his position and using the city manager's office or the city attorney's office as a pawn to go out and threaten local businesses and media outlets that just report the news, because it is news. When the city manager's name's in a police report for asking a subordinate out for drinks, that's news. When Mr. Freed didn't get the reaction that he wanted from this local media outlet, he then took things one step farther, and he went and talked to other businesses, organizations that advertise with this media outlet. He then threatened them that if they continue to associate with this media outlet, they could no longer associate and do business with the city. And I've confirmed this through the organizations that Mr. Freed has reached out to. There's a lawsuit probably going to be coming from it. And then Mr. Freed went even farther. You guys opened up a skate park and a children's park recently. It was a project in the city. This media outlet did a very nice story on both projects. They showed up, they had their cameraman, we're going to do articles. They want to highlight the city. This media outlet has also spent a lot of money in previous videos. But the reporter from this media outlet had one of the city employees give a statement on camera in an interview. Very nice interview, very respectful interview, and then just kind of, champion what was going on. Mr. Freed caught wind of that. He then went to the city employee and made her retract her consent to that interview. So here's what needs to happen. Y'all need to rein your little puppy in and put him on a short leash, because he's getting a little ahead of himself. And there's 2 more lawsuits that are coming over his behavior. And that'll be 3 because we got the SCOTUS case that we're all aware of. Y'all need to do something. James is out of control. He doesn't understand that, hey, if you engage in some questionable behavior and your name ends up in a public record and in a police report, and then people report on that, guess what? That's on you, not on them. And you don't get to use Mr. Shouty to come after them. And then when you don't like the fact that you weren't able to bully them and intimidate them, then go after their advertisers and the people that do business with them. It's absurd. If Mayor Mike Duggan went after the Detroit News or the Detroit Free Press for reporting on him and said, if you guys do business with the Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press, you can't do business with the city of Detroit, he'd be out of office. And that's what's happening here. It needs to stop, and you guys need to look into this. It's enough. When people are trying to highlight the positives in the city, and Mr. Freed, because he's got his fragile little ego, doesn't like it, so he comes after him, that's a problem. Another issue I want to talk about is Mr. Shouty's here tonight, and we all know that his son punched a resident in the face and assaulted him, and it was a criminal act. And I'm sure you all have seen what just happened in Warren. They had a police officer assault a person in the jail. They immediately suspended him. The 2 officers that were on scene reported him. They have now fired that officer, and he's facing new criminal charges. That's what needs to happen here. Todd doesn't get to protect his kid, and we all know that's what's happening here. You guys are afraid to take action. Chief Platzer and Assistant Chief Kerrigan are afraid to take action against an officer who committed a criminal act on camera that went viral across the world. He punched a man in the face. Why does he still have a job? Why is he not being charged criminally? And I would assume you probably raised your son a little bit better, so I don't put it on Utah that he did what he did, but what he did was bullshit. And it needs to be addressed, and it's time for this council and those 2 up there to do something about it, because enough is enough. We can't have police officers assaulting people. It's an embarrassment to the city, it's an embarrassment to the council, and it's an embarrassment to the department, and those two sitting right there. So y'all do something. It's time to deal with Tristan Shouty. It's time to fire him. Make it happen, because you're just embarrassing yourselves and all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the city council this evening?
Holden Goth here, 11th Avenue. I really don't have much to say other than just a lot of what I heard tonight was really sad. It's just really sad to see all the pain that people have around here, and I've felt it myself. There is a lot to be angry about. Kevin had good points about Officer Shouty. I mean, yeah, that's just ridiculous. The man got paid to punch some dude in the face. I wish I could get paid for that. I mean, I wish I could go deck somebody at work and then sit back, have a nice paid vacation. Crazy.
Excuse me, just keep to the
And,
points.
I mean, I do have a question. You guys allow yielding time, or do you not do that?
I didn't understand what you said.
Do you allow the yielding of time? Because I only have
No,
4
we
minutes.
do not.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
No, we do not.
Future reference. But, no, yeah, I mean, it just is really sad. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
Paige Coughlin, 11th Avenue. This is way out of my comfort zone to stand up here and talk like this, but the way that my fiance was just completely dismissed, like he literally just asked a question and didn't even have the respect for an answer, I feel like. The look I'm getting
I
right
did answer
now-
his question.
Yeah, and the tone was pretty disrespectful.
No, I couldn't understand what he said. I really couldn't.
Well, I agree with the comments that it's pretty ridiculous that an officer can punch somebody in the face and get a paid vacation and there's not much done about it. And I don't really know much about Julian Ruck except for seeing him at these council meetings, and it's just really sad that somebody's trying to do good for the community, and I don't know what kind of drama is going on, what's been in the past, but it's just sad that somebody who's trying to do good is just pushed down. Like, he's trying to help people, and I don't get why he can't do that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? I'll declare public comment closed. We'll move on to from the city manager.